of relationships and ups and
Yes.
downs. I mean, I want to talk about, I mean, I've talked about this before, but I can't get it. It's changing every day. By the time this comes out, like a week later, it'll change even more. But this whole thing with like Denise Richards.
Yes.
I
Yes, yes, yes.
mean, she filed. I mean, look, it's like when she first filed for divorce, I was like, wow, like she seemed like she was into him, right? She said, I'll never, no more divorces. She had the kooky Charlie and
Yeah.
all of that. And I'm like, she
Yeah.
found this guy, and maybe there were some red flags, but not really.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are now in retrospect. We'll talk about that. And
Yeah.
then I was like, poor Denise, like she was just caught off guard. She was never saw this coming. And then it took a certainly a different turn where she claims, she claimed this alleged domestic violence and she showed the pictures with a black
Yeah.
eye
Yeah.
and went on and on and on. We could talk about all the signs now of what people are finding 2020. And then,
Yeah.
Aaron released this statement, which I don't know if I read the, did you see Aaron released a statement like last
Yes.
week where he said, I want to address the recent rumors, the speculation surfacing from do. Let me be unequivocally clear. I have never physically or emotionally abused Denise or anyone. These accusations are completely false and
Oof.
deeply hurtful. And then he just goes on and on. Denise and I, like many couples, have faced our share of challenges, but any suggestion of abuse is categorically untrue. I have
Mm.
always tried to approach our marriage. I asked for privacy as well, I mean, all these people that ask for privacy, it's not going to happen. So you can ask, but it doesn't
It's
work.
also, what does he categorize as abuse? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
he in his mind could really think, I did not abuse her, because sometimes men don't think that some of the things that they do that have violent tendencies, they don't always necessarily label it themselves as abusive. So he might actually believe that he wasn't abusive and he could have been very violent with her.
So, and then the other thing she says,
Allegedly.
right, all that allegedly, and like she says the names, and he called her a see you next Tuesday, and the father joined in saying all this, and you saw the picture of the black eyes. So I guess, this is really, look, she has a temporary restraining order, which
Yeah.
when there's enough facts, the judge grants that because it's like, okay, we can grant a temporary one because you might be in danger. And
Of
now the
course.
hearing is on August 8th. That is the day of the hearing.
Yeah.
And, that's where it's either going to be granted. She's going to have a restraining order that's permanent, or they'll be like, no, this is not. So I think that date is going to really tell us not everything, but it's going to tell us a lot, I think.
Do you think he shows up to fight it? Because sometimes the TROs are fully extended because the person asking for it shows up and the person fighting it doesn't always show up. So what do you think
Interesting.
if we're putting on like our legal gambling hats, which is so weird? Do you think he shows up to fight it, or do you think he kind of like, oh, thinks that by not showing up, it just sometimes people think that showing up is admitting something. You know what I mean?
I do. Well, that's the thing. Look, I mean, so I guess you 100% unequivocally believe Denise in this.
You know, I don't 100% believe anybody in anything unless I'm in the room. That's just
Hmm.
me having been so I for context, I have experienced intimate partner violence. And it's interesting. I mentioned to you that this situation kind of adds to my theory that sometimes, and not that this is what it is, but sometimes women that are in abusive relationships come onto these shows because subconsciously they want somebody to help kind of like expose what's going on. And so I wondered if that's what was going on. And it's hard, right? Because, there's like the whole, like, why do women stay after the first time that they've been abused? And like, there's a whole conversation about that. And if we look at patterns to date, right? She has a pattern of toxic relationships. It's just that, maybe this one looked better on the outside for a lot longer. And so I just allow for all of that to be a possibility. And it's just hard. Like these things are hard. It's hard to say who's right, who's wrong, because you want to give everybody some shade of like benefit of the doubt, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not because a lot of people online are victim shaming. I'm not victim shaming either. I cannot change who I am at the core of my essence of my being. I too, as a lawyer and just as a, New Yorker, both of those things do make me by nature jaded. Like
Yeah.
so I'm not victim shaming. I don't not believe her. I am the same way as you. I just believe, like, look, I referred to this example before. There's this girl, she killed both her parents. I think she's like 21. I don't know if you saw this, it was on, and
No.
this is the shit that comes up in my Instagram feed. It's either 80s or 90s stuff, lots of real
Or true
estate.
crime.
Right, lots of real estate because I'm obsessed with real estate. Like, I
I could
mean,
see that.
like all these apartments in New York, and I'm like, God, they're all gorgeous. I want them all.
It's like
And
interior
then,
design, true crime.
yeah,
Interior design, true crime.
yeah, and so like this came up where this girl, she killed her parents. She went to the funeral. She gave the eulogy. I mean, it was heartfelt, and her life was ruined. And 6 months later, well, I mean, now the eulogy is going viral because like you did it. And so I
Yeah.
too, I'm not victim shaming. Of course, I tend to believe this. There's always like, look, legally. Prior to this, I feel Aaron has a really good case to get money. Period. I had jobs and I quit my business. Well, did Denise tell you to quit your business? Probably. She probably said, "Well, you're being sued." This and that. And granted, sounds like a snake oil sham of business where it's like, oh,
Period.
we can help you with cancer. I don't even want to get into
With
that.
lights.
Right, with
Yeah.
lights, like, okay. But so it's like that's prima facie, like that's it. Like, I mean, if this were a woman saying I quit the business to buy my husband while he
Yes,
made
yes, yes, yes.
Denise makes money.
Yes.
By the way, I also help her make the money. I hold the lights and I snap the pictures that I art direct the OnlyFans. I gave up everything. Yeah, that's like on its face. So I'm like, okay, I think he has a really good case, Denise. Like, what a
Yeah.
scumbag. Like, he's still a scumbag. I think he planned all this or whatever, but
Yeah.
he's getting a lot of money. And now we have this. And I'm like, all of a sudden, I don't think his case is so open and dry. Yeah, my
No.
mind does go to the legal, like, well, no, I don't think, I mean, you got to be sick. You got to be sick to make this up.
Oh,
But
for
so
sure.
right. So I'm sure it's not, but my mind does go there for a second.
Of
And
course,
now
because
this
as a
happens.
lawyer, you're gonna think of every possibility.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah. And the fact that he's now speaking and saying this is absolutely false. Well, I mean, this is an interesting one. I mean, we have two.
Yeah.
It's either true or it's not, Aaron. I guess unless
Yeah.
what you say is the case where, I mean, but she has a black eye. So,
It might come down to witnesses. It might come down literally, or like any texts that show abuse, because there is that one clip from the show where
mhm.
he threatens to crush her hand. And again, as somebody who has been around and with violent men and around men that are not violent don't use violent language, and men that tend to be violent tend to use violent language. That's my experience, my personal experience, 45 years on this planet. I have a father who was abusive and violent. I've had partners who've been abusive and violent. And so that does kind of like me. And so I'd be curious, right? Because to me, a man like that more than likely has done a lot of like rage texting. And so that's where like when files and accounts get subpoenaed, right? And and more than likely like he probably did some rage violent stuff in front of kids. So if there's any witnesses or any kind of like patterns that you can prove patterns, that's when it really gets dicey. So and that's what it really has to come down to, unfortunately, is that in the court of law you have to bring facts, right? And
Yeah.
witnesses.
And I guess to your point, right, there is this clip from the show, and we all thought it was so innocent, or I mean, hindsight's 2020. I guess now,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he didn't really mean I'm gonna crush your hand, but he did. I mean, he said those words.
Yeah, and again, men that don't intend to do violent things don't
Right.
use violent words.
Right. Like it's a strange thing to say out
Just
of
saying.
clear. No, I mean, you have a point. You have a really good point there. I mean, to your question, do I think he'll, well, I guess what? If he doesn't show up, then the temporary restraining order could still be in effect,
Or
sure,
extended,
or
right?
extended, sure.
Yeah.
I guess if you're, I don't know, to showing up mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just the type that, look, I think if it's not
I
true
just can
at
see some
all,
alpha men weirdly flipping it that like showing up admits guilt. And I'm so not guilty that I'm not even going to show up. And so I could somehow weirdly in my betting gambling lawyer brain see him being that kind of, I don't know why. That's just what this smells like.
and I also don't know just because, I mean, I certainly didn't practice this kind of law and I haven't practiced any
Yeah.
kind of law in decades, but is that because, like, if you have a case against